Hi Rebound Stronger listeners, so excited today. I have an amazing individual right in front of me today, Mr. Coen Tan. Coen is a professional speaker, trainer and coach in influential communications. Over the past 8 years, he has been training more than 35,000 individuals and professionals in how to communicate using confidence and impact.
Hi everyone,
Hi, welcome Kwan. So excited to have you here.
I'm very excited to be here as well.
What? Okay, we are talking about excitement. So what gets you excited this week?
What gets me excited? Oh wow, so much things, man. Actually, in fact, this week I've just completed a very important training program, and from this training program, I have some follow-ups to do with some of my client organizations, and really looking forward to expand my business. And I'm really excited and I'm very grateful because I have got great mentors in my life.
Wow.
At every stage of my life, right now I am in the business of training and speaking, and I'm looking to grow my speaking business. And so this week I just had a chance to co-run a program together with my mentor Kenneth Kwan. And next week I'm looking forward to speaking to another global speaking professional who has over 20 years of experience in speaking, and he's going to help me to grow my business. So I'm very excited.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, we all learning never stops. Learning never stops.
Yeah, we met in one of you were conducting a branding workshop along with Eugene Seah last time, and we met and we talk about you share also about your stories.
Yes.
And I think it's a powerful stories, and that's why you're here, and we want to learn more about your experience and more also about what you actually your insight during after going through that. So can you share with us your low point and more importantly the rebound part?
Wow, where do I start? Okay, you see, when I was growing up, right, I was never really such a confident person. I never would have thought that I would become a professional speaker, speaking in front of hundreds of people, empowering lives. When I was growing up, I was a quiet student.
Yep.
I was brought up by my parents to do only one thing, which is study. And my life consisted of mostly studying and chasing after grades and getting good results, because I felt as though if I didn't get good results that I would let my parents down. So I didn't want to let my parents down. I think the day I first realized this was one day when I came home from primary 1 and I got 87 for mathematics. I was really excited, I was happy, because I was among the top 3 in my class, but my mom was disappointed. And she said that I should be aiming for higher. I shouldn't be only getting 87 and should be getting 95 and above. And so my mom has a very strict expectations of me as well, to always ensure that I study and do additional work in order to to get good results. So I almost felt as though I was studying very hard, not really because I love to study, but because I wanted
To please
my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went into secondary school, I went to a good school because my results were good. My mom was allowed me to have more freedom, because she was going to focus more on my younger brother. And with that freedom, I became more I lost control of myself. I started playing video games instead of studying, because I never really wanted to do that. And of course, being rebellious and everything. But one of the things, is like in teenage years is when it's the most exciting, right? It's like you get to play and everything. But I wasn't happy because I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't develop my social skills. My skills was mostly on studying, not so much of academic skills, not so much of social skills. So I didn't have the confidence to approach people, to talk to people. I didn't have the...
And at the time,
Yeah.
were you aware about that?
Aware?
That meaning that you know that you kind of don't have that skill in terms of, or cannot connect easily to other people or your friends, your
Yeah.
peers.
I wouldn't say that I have the kind of wisdom to know exactly that I didn't have the social skills, but what I really did felt at the time was that I felt left out. I felt I have no friends. I felt lonely, and I felt like I didn't know how to talk to people. Like I didn't have the confidence to approach people, and also because of that, I went into CCA that I thought would make me a tougher person. I joined Scouts, and I didn't enjoy it because I was among the slowest in the team in the group. So because of me, I always get punished by the seniors. And sometimes when we are punished by the seniors, they will pick on me as well because I would always cause everyone to be punished. So my peers, they also didn't like me. They also felt that I'm always the one who's the slowest, who caused everyone
making them
punished.
to get punishment.
So I felt very lousy, and I felt I have no friends. I felt that I was lonely, and I really wanted to. I wouldn't say I knew then that I didn't have the social skills, but what I didn't know is that I wanted friends, but I don't have any friends, and I felt very lousy. And one day in school, my friends were teasing me so much that I cannot take it, and so I reacted in a very violent explosion. And because of that, the teacher grabbed me and bring me to the sick bay, and to cool down. And after like 3 hours of cooling down, so to speak, they told my parents to come and fetch me from school, and they told my parents to tell me to take 1 week away from school. And at that point in time, I thought that I was a good student, but I felt probably it's the lowest point of my life at the time, because now everybody knows that I am not a good student. Everyone knows that not only is my results not good, I'm also considered like a problem person. And since then, they referred me to see many family counseling. I've been referred to counselors. I've also been referred to the Institute of Mental Health to go and see the psychologists and the specialists there. So that was the kind of life I had when I was growing up.
And how do you rebound from that? So which that part, like from seeing psychologists, and now looking at where you are now, a coach, a speaker, you travel to many different countries to actually give, teach other. So I'm just saying, between this and this, what's the process? What step do you take?
Well, that is a very, very big process. One of the first process I had was I needed to realize that I'm in my lowest point. I think I just want to offer some advice to people at home listening to this, is when you feel you reach your lowest point, it is time when the only way to go is up. And so I told myself that the only way to go is up. And what really helped me was that when I went to junior college, I took a 3 months break away from school because I didn't want to study for the sake of studying. I wanted to figure out what I want to do with my life. And then in those 3 months, I actually started reading books. Before that, I don't read books. I don't like to read because the only books I read is textbook. And after reading textbooks, I don't want to read anymore. So I started reading books. And one of the first book that I read was by John Maxwell. It's a book called Becoming a Person of Influence. And I thought I have nothing to lose, right? I might as well give it a try. And after reading what I read, I decided to put into practice slowly but surely, take baby steps. To be truthful, at the point in time, I felt like there wasn't much hope, but I just told myself I needed to take baby steps. So I took baby steps and experimented and tried things. So when I went to junior college, I decided to go to a different junior college from most of my secondary school peers, because I wanted to start afresh. I wanted to start anew. I wanted to learn how to make more friends. So that was my slow but surely journey towards recovery. The second thing besides reading books was also because if I'm fueled by a very, very deep longing, a very deep desire to learn how to connect with people, I told myself one thing: if they can do it, why can't I? And so I started to observe. Normally when people say you go to the Starbucks, drink coffee, you like to people watch and observe. I don't only watch people when I go Starbucks. In fact, I started observing all my peers, like how they interact with each other. Especially because I was at an age where I'm interested in the girls. So I got the particular keen interest to study how the guys talk to the girls. So I think it's very important to be able to study and observe people and to try and say, hey, I noticed that the person did A, B, and C, and I decided to try for myself. This in neuro-linguistic programming NLP we call this modeling. I think what also helped me was I was able to observe. One of my friends said something. He says that the one thing that you lack the most is the one thing that you become most sensitive to. And indeed it is true, because I felt that I was not given, nobody wanted to be my friends. I have no friends. I felt that I was ignored, I was overlooked, and I was like a wallflower. So there was a part of me that is like hungry for attention. It's like, no, come on, look at me, like what about me, So because of that, I became very, very good at getting attention. Not necessarily get attention in a bad way, like attention seeking, but I learned what helps people to grab attention, and so I've continued learning that, started reading more books about psychology and how even advertisers grab people's attention. So I am very fascinated by this. So I'm very, very good at studying people and observing people, different personality types. So I think that really helped me a lot in my job today, as a coach, as a speaker, because I'm very sensitive to people's emotions, and when I'm very sensitive to people's emotions, I can better help them and better coach them. So I think it is how sort of like my suffering or become my gift, my pain becomes my passion, and whatever is it that I'm most sensitive to has actually helped me to become very sensitive and sharp about it. Yeah. Of course, I continue learning. Like I mentioned earlier on, get mentors, good mentors. When I started going to work, I decided to start attending seminars. One seminar that really changed my life was a coaching program I attended back in 2005. Before I attended the coaching program, I was going through a very difficult period in my life again. I was very devastated after my first girlfriend left me. So my friend suggested that I attend the coaching program, and I attended the coaching program, and I really found out a lot about myself. And so that's where I really learned that self-awareness is very, very important. Very often we go through life without being aware of ourselves, without being aware of why we behave in a certain way, why we react in a certain way. So that self-awareness has helped me to continue to grow myself since then.
So what people can do to become more self-aware?
What can people do? I think it's very, very important for us to spend some time reflecting on ourselves on a regular basis. For myself, I do that like once a week at least. I really give myself what I call me time, and I start to reflect upon why I do the things I do, why I reacted the way I react. I think that's very, very important, to be self-aware. Self-awareness is the first step.
Okay. So how long typically you do that every week?
It could be very long actually. Sometimes, especially if I have something negative happen to me, that I have a very negative response towards that. Sometimes I will give myself about 2-3 hours to reflect and think about it. And I wouldn't think about it like just sit there and think and do nothing and cry or what. No, it's like even when I'm outside, I'm still, when I'm eating, sometimes I'm also just reflecting about it. And I think one of the best ways for me to get out of it is really to ask myself this question: what is the worst thing that can happen? And so if I really believe that the worst thing have happened already, right, then I say great, the next step is things can only get better. So I think that's always very, very important for me. For me, it's very funny because whenever I go deep down, deep rock bottom, when I go rock bottom, then I realize that, you know what, if the worst thing has already happened, then the next thing is it can only get better. So usually I realize that I have all the solutions inside me. It's just that I need to get over myself, so that I realize that things can get better. Then I also ask myself a better question, a more empowering question: how can I make things better? How can I take baby steps to improve myself? And that's when I get really, really amazing breakthroughs and insights.
So what other questions also you ask when you kind of reflecting what happened to you throughout that particular weeks?
What questions do I ask myself? I think a very, very interesting thing is also to listen to the real questions you tell yourself. Especially whenever we all sometimes get angry, Sometimes we get upset, we get sad. It's very important for us to really be honest and think about the kind of things that we tell ourselves. One of the big realization for me is that when sometimes certain things happen to me, that some negative things happen to me, I'll start to get angry about it. And when I'm angry about it, the question I ask myself is, why me? Why must this happen to me? Sometimes I ask myself questions like, why is it that it seems like, people have something against me? And I realize that when I am very honest with myself and realize that I ask myself all these questions, then I realize that, is it really so? Is it just my own imagination? Is it that people always want to have negative things happen to me or hurt me? Yeah. Then I realized that actually that's a very wrong, how do I say, that's not an empowering point of view. So I realized that, okay, good, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Because sometimes we don't realize that when something negative happens, we have a certain level, feeling of bitterness. And when we don't deal with it properly, the bitterness will stay in the heart. And in future, something happen again, we will react in the same way again. We will react in a way like, our bitterness will take over and we will react the same way again. And bitterness is not of God, it's not of love, it's not of, it's not positive, right? So it's something that we have to be very, very honest with ourselves. So that's why I'm a big fan of emotions. I think we are all emotional creatures. So, I don't care whether some people tell me I'm more irrational, I'm not so emotional, but every one of us have emotions. Emotions are very much part of our lives. So the thing is not so much about feeling emotional and get, oh my god, I'm so emotional, and then become so dramatic about it. The thing is really to appreciate and accept the emotions and say, okay, great, what am I feeling right now? What is my emotion at that point in time? And why am I feeling this way? What are the things I'm saying to myself? What are the questions I'm saying to myself? And once I realize that, I start to say, why must this happen to me? So it feels like I feel that I'm victimized.
Yeah.
So then I realize that, okay, great. Can you ask a better question? Is it necessarily true that some people have something against me? I say, great, okay. If somebody has something against me, then I need to be more careful.
Okay. What better questions typically, like to switch your
better questions
mind to a positive side? So can you give some examples, for example?
Great. One of the things is that, okay, great, whatever has happened, right? It's like, now you have a negative emotion about it, but what's the reality? One of the best questions is, what is the reality?
What's the reality?
And sometimes we realize that it is not as bad as we think it is. The reality is actually not so bad. But sometimes it's our mind, it's like our fear, our feeling of lack of something, that makes us overreact.
Our fear.
Correct. Most of the time it's fear. So for myself, it's like, what is the reality? The question is, what is the reality? Okay, if this is a reality, great. So the next question is, can I be responsible for what have happened? It's like, okay, great, whatever happened have happened, right? No point blaming, no point saying, people have something against me. The question is, if people have something against me, then I need to be careful. If people don't have anything against me, then why do I think that way? It's not very positive, it doesn't help me. So the question is, what is the reality? And after I realized what's the reality, okay, great, reality is that something happened, that sucks. Okay, fair enough. I think it's very useful for me to say the word, it sucks. Because whenever we say it sucks, right, then the better question becomes, okay, great, if it sucks, what can make it better? Yeah, because sometimes we don't even want to admit to ourselves, right? So what we do is we try to distract ourselves, we try to do other things, but we are trying to sweep the problem away, but the problem doesn't solve. So the thing is, great, okay, great, if it sucks, okay, it has happened, this is the reality, now how can I make things better? That's the best question.
So you take controls and basically, okay, what can I do to make these things better, right? Great, excellent. And before we have this chat, also you talk about the power of emotions.
Yes.
So maybe you can elaborate more about that.
The power of emotions?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Personally, I think that there are actually three very, very important emotions that people usually don't want to feel.
Yeah.
One of the emotion is fear. We talked about that before. Very often we hear some seminars, people say that fear is bad, fear is false evidence appearing real. I think it's clever to say these kind of things, but I think it's not very useful. I think fear is necessary. In our lives, fear is necessary, right? It's like, if you have no fear, then you would be reckless. You would take unnecessary risks. If you have no fear, then you would stick your finger in a life socket. So I think fear is necessary. the thing is not about letting fear take over you. The thing is that, okay, great, acknowledge your fears. Once you acknowledge your fears, then you can also then accept the fact that maybe the fear is trying to keep you safe. Now the next thing is to ask yourself the question is, what do you really want? What do you really, really want? If your fear is stopping you from getting what you really, really want, and if the fear is not as bad as it is, then you can slowly take baby steps to overcome that fear. Right? The question is not to say that fear is bad. Very often people judge fear is bad, so they try not to deal with it. But it will come up again and again. It's funny.
Yeah.
Right? So I think fear is actually a good thing. Fear can guide your actions, but love would power your actions. So I would say to people, let love power your actions. Let your love for yourself, your love for other people. So you take actions because you love something. You love to reach your dreams, or you love yourself. You give yourself a permission to chase after your dreams. But also let fear guide your actions so that you will not be totally reckless. So many people jump into investments, jump into business with all the excitement and passion and very excited, but at the end of the day, they are careless and they make a wrong move, and sometimes they end up with failure. So I think fear has actually got a role to play. The second emotion that people don't usually deal with is anger. Anger is actually something that people always tell themselves is a bad thing. There are all kinds of anger. Some anger is like rage. Some anger will cause violence, and that is not good anger. But sometimes anger comes in all different ways. Anger comes in things like frustration. Frustration is a bit of anger. Like sometimes you can say, I'm pissed, I am frustrated, I am disturbed, I am peeved, irritated. Right? Yeah. These are all various level of anger. So I think sometimes when certain things happen, right, if you're angry about something, it's very important to allow yourself to feel your anger. Feel it, but do not have to act on it. So you take yourself away, and then you really feel it. If you need to, maybe take a piece of paper and write down, journal. So if you find most of the time the purpose of anger, right, is maybe you feel that something happened is injustice. Something happened that should not happen, that's why you are angry. So the question is now, great, if you are really angry about it and something happened that you shouldn't happen, how can you best address the situation? Right? I think anger sometimes have a role to play. Anger will cause people to try to reform things that are not working. If people have no anger, they will only live a life of anything law, then nothing will change, nothing will improve. Anger has a purpose. So I think it's not. Some people they don't deal with the anger, they end up pushing away the anger. They still say, no, it's not good to be angry, no, it's not good to be angry, and they try to act nice. But what happens is that someday they will blow up because they take on too much. So sometimes if you feel you are angry about something, you need to really go and ask yourself, why am I angry? I'm angry because some things happen that shouldn't happen. Okay, great. So how can we address it without becoming violent? How can we address it without speaking with harsh words? How can we use that anger to drive ourselves to make the changes that we want to see? So I think anger has also got a very good.
So like sometimes, myself included, like we are angry, and then sometimes I'm angry, and seems like I don't have controls in terms of I just bang table. What I can do to, let's say, not become so explosive and maybe ultimately can hurt people also.
Actually, in fact, that's one of those things also I'm good at. I'm learning to deal with as well. For myself, when I'm angry, it's usually when I get fearful. When I get fearful, I become angry, for some reason, because when I'm scared, then I try to react. I'm also dealing with it myself. Like when I was growing up, there's a lot of violence in the household. So sometimes whenever I'm fearful, I tend to get violent and I tend to get angry. But the real thing we need to ask ourselves is when we are angry, like, what has helped me so far is, like I said, when I'm angry, I'll take myself out of the situation, and I would ask myself, why am I angry? Like, why am I so angry? What is it that I wanted to see that I didn't see? What is it that need to happen so that that didn't happen? So I ask myself, why am I really, really angry? It's helped me a lot, but sometimes I still get angry. But the thing is, when I'm angry, the thing is really to ask ourselves, what is the cause of the anger? Yeah. For myself, one of the cause is sometimes when I have some ideas and I share my ideas and people don't get it, and I get quite disappointed and I get quite angry. Sometimes when I stop to ask myself why am I so angry, then I realize that actually it's because I want something to happen. And when the thing didn't happen, the anger turned into sadness. I kind of become, I'm disappointed. So you see, at first I was angry, but later I was disappointed. So disappointment is more manageable, you know. And sometimes when I go into disappointment, it's more manageable. Later, when I feel the courage to talk to the person, I'll talk to the person and I say to the person, what you did or what happened makes me very disappointed. So actually, disappointed is an emotions that people can relate to more than angry. Because when I'm angry and I shout or I say hurtful things, it breaks the relationship. It causes people to be defensive. It causes people to go, oh my God, and it does not serve the purpose of making things better.
And what's the third emotion?
Shame. I think a lot of people feel some level of shame on a regular basis. Even people I talk to, people I train and I coach in my workshops, and people who are very successful people, sometimes some of the things they say is, what are you saddest about? I ask the question, what are you sad about? And the question the answer they give sometimes surprises me. They are very successful people, but they say that what makes me sad is that I am not as successful as I want to be. Sometimes what makes me sad is that I'm already 40 years old plus and I'm not fulfilling my potential. And I realized that a lot of times people put a lot of pressure on themselves. There's a lot of shame, a lot of feeling that I am not good enough, a lot of feeling of I'm not worthy. And this is something that people need to really come face to face with. That's the reason why so many people, they don't have the courage to start a business, for example. That's why some people don't have the courage to step up their game if they want to get a promotion in a career, whether they want to climb higher, but they become paralyzed by the shame. They feel, I'm not good enough, and so because of that, they sabotage themselves. They don't take actions to improve themselves. And when they don't take action to improve themselves and they don't get the success they want, then they will go, because I'm not good enough. They are afraid of trying, because if they try and they fail, then they will fear that they don't feel good enough. I think it's something that I have all the time. Whenever I do a presentation, I do a training, I'm always very harsh on myself. My friends call me a perfectionist. My clients call me a perfectionist. I think this is something that we face, every one of us face in some way or form. And the question of shame is really about, why do we feel that we are not good enough? Can we love ourselves more? Can we give ourselves more self-love instead of being so harsh on ourselves? Sometimes if you really take note of the things you say to other people and you say to yourself, sometimes we say harsher words to ourselves than we say to other people. Sometimes we say, you suck. You're not good enough. That's stupid. Why did I do that thing that's so stupid? We usually may not call people stupid, but we normally call ourselves stupid. And it's an emotion that we need to really touch, go and feel it. Why do I feel I'm not good enough? What must happen before I feel I'm good enough? But what if I'm really just doing the best that I can on any given point?
So what's your current passion?
For passion?
Yeah, or maybe project going.
Wow, what a question. Great. I've been in a speaking career for about 8 years already, and I really am thinking about how I can take myself to the next level so that I can help even more people and help people in a way that also makes me feel fulfilled, even more fulfilled. So I think one of the things is that I'm called to do is to write a book. And this book is about influence. And it's about influence from my authentic space. I haven't thought of a title of the book yet, although I'm kind of playing with a few names in my mind. But the whole idea is how to help people become more influential from an authentic space. Why is because there are so many people who feels that they cannot connect with other people. They feel that they cannot be influential, whether be it becoming a leader in their workplace, becoming a better business person in terms of connecting with more people, networking, doing more sales, or is it being just a person who wants to climb the corporate ladder and need to learn how to express and speak up, or someone who is looking for maybe a life partner, how they can improve their ability to connect with other people. So that's what the book is going to be about. And the book is really going to talk about some of the experiences, helping people to get in touch with their own emotions, helping people to get in touch with their own experiences. No matter how painful those experiences are, those experiences, when they can overcome those experiences, it becomes a very, very powerful message for other people. They can then inspire other people with their message. So that's really helping people to do that. Also helping people to really strip away all their masks. Why I'm called to serve in that manner is because a lot of the clients I have, one-to-one coaching clients, a lot of them are very, very high flyers in corporate sector. But what they are feeling is that they are telling me that they are feeling they cannot connect as well with the people. Even some of them cannot connect as well with their family. And I realized that in the corporate world, it's always performance related, and typically, especially in American kind of company, we give a premium to people who are more extroverted, people who are able to speak out more, people who can be very forceful sometimes.
Yeah.
That's why they can climb the corporate ladder. But what they're telling me is that they're losing their ability to really connect with people. And I think it's not just about being very pushing or being very outspoken all the time. It's sometimes also about being able to connect with your own self, connect with your own emotions, bring out your authentic side, so that you can connect with people better. Becoming more authentic leaders. A lot of leaders, they reach a level where they feel, the common saying that leaders are lonely at the top. I don't think that necessarily is the case. It's just because a lot of leaders are very forceful. Sometimes the people below them feel scared to connect with them, feel scared to share information with them. So that's why sometimes the leaders at the top do not get some information from below them, and therefore they feel kind of like lonely at the top. I think it doesn't have to be the case. A leader can create an environment of authenticity by, first of all, being authentic themselves.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
For me, I'm getting married next year, so 5 years down the road, I really want to become a father. I think that's one of those things that I really, really want to do.
Congratulations, Coen.
Thank you. Excited about it. I was like,
the day is set.
Yeah, the day is set. Never knew what I'm going to get myself into, fatherhood and all that. But I guess it's life. You can never really be totally prepared for anything. It just comes, and you just take it and grow with it. Yeah, for myself, it's at the end of the day, I just want to also be able to influence people to do good, to influence other people, to inspire people to inspire, to influence people to inspire, to live an inspirational life. That's why we are called to do.
I know you read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I saw a big rack full of books. So what are the books which has inspired you?
Well, a lot of books. One of the first book was, of course, Becoming a Person of Influence by John Maxwell. Moving forward, some books have inspired me. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Great book. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest that you read that book. Another great book that I enjoyed a lot is by Brené Brown. Brené Brown is the lady who became famous because of the TED Talk she gave about vulnerability. And her book is Daring Greatly. It talks a lot about vulnerability, and it's something that totally resonates with me. Some other book that really, really inspired me, I read all kinds of books, and one of the book that also inspired me is this little known book, but it's called The Talent Code, Talent Talent Code, Code, by Daniel Coyle, Daniel Coyle. And in this book, Daniel Coyle talks about how people develop skills. And I've always been fascinated about how people learn. Because I myself, I'm a non-stop, I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always learning from every situation. I'm like a sponge. So I when I read the book, I was very inspired because it really inspired me to believe that I can learn anything I want as long as I put enough effort into it. And we are all learning creatures. We are constantly learning every day, whether we know it or not. So why not let's be more conscious about the things that we feed our mind? Why not let's be more conscious about what we are learning so that we can develop the skills to become more proficient in our career, in our life, whether be it the skill for public speaking, the skill for leadership, the skill for connecting with people. I think every one of us can learn something. And what really saddens me a lot is that many people they are so resigned. They believe that it's like I cannot be better in my life. I want to become more influential. I want to have more connection, I want to improve my relationship with my wife, my husband, my children. But they don't want to put an effort to do it. They would rather just distract themselves, play video games, and this weekend Pokemon Go is out, right? So a lot of people are playing Pokemon Go, and I think that people can learn and can really develop themselves if they really give themselves a chance. So I really want to inspire people to do that, and Daniel Coyle's book really inspired me a lot. I've got a whole list of books that I'll suggest our readers read. Every one of us can really pick up ideas.
And how people can get in touch with you?
Well, you can get in touch with me through my website, my company's website, ministry-of-influence.com. You can check out some of the things that I do, that my training company does. You can also get in touch with me through email. It's here, connect, CONNECT, at Coen Tan, COENTAN.com, connect@coentan.com. So you can connect with me there, and I look forward to hearing from you, and have a chat.
One final question. What's your definitions of courage, Coen?
Courage. That's a very, very interesting question. I think the word courage comes from the Latin word cur. Cur, it's C-O-U-R. It's a word for heart, H-E-A-R-T. So to me, courage is about living from an open-hearted space, even though we will be hurt. Very often when we are hurt, we close our heart. Our heart is constricted. Courage is about living on a day-to-day basis with an open heart, to give, to take that, to reach out. I think reaching out is such a scary thing. Sometimes we think of courage in terms of jumping off of a plane and all that. That to me is just short term, right? But some of the most scary things in the world is, for example, reaching out to a parent of yours that you hope to have a better relationship with, even though you don't have a good relationship with this parent, and for many years, maybe just reaching out to spend time with this parent, reaching out to connect with this parent, and make the effort to be present to that person. Because sometimes, no matter whether we have good relationship with our parents or not, they're getting older, they're not getting younger. So that's courage. Courage is about reaching out to someone and say, hey, I really want to connect with you. Can we have a chat? Can we have a talk? Courage is saying sorry to someone you have hurt. And just reaching out to a person and go, hey, I'm sorry. It's like, how can I make things better for you? I'm sorry I hurt you. How can I make things better? That to me is the biggest form of courage. To reach out to people, to build relationships, to build connections, to risk allowing our heart to be hurt, to risk failure, to risk the feeling that we didn't make it, we screw up. That's courage to me.
Thank you so much, Coen. I think you open up yourself, you share your stories, and you also share what you learn from that stories. And wow, this is powerful.
I was just spontaneous, man. It's like I sometimes I just answered to the question the best way I could. Yeah, I was just spontaneous. I hope I make sense.
Thank you for coming here. And,
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, Fauzi.
Really great to have you in this podcast.
Thank you, Fauzi. Thank you, Fauzi, for having me. Yeah.
Hi, Rebound Stronger listeners. Fauzi here. I hope you enjoy my conversations with Coen Tan. I have five take personal takes away from my conversations with Coen. So the first one is as a parent, I would be more careful and or intentional in raising my two daughters. I have to admit that academic has been the top goals in our family, and so from trying to get into a good primary school to setting high academic schools, I want them to understand that the effort is more important than the results. That I love them no matter what grades they got. So that's my goal. Second, uh, social skill like playing with friends might come naturally from for some children, but some children making friends could be a challenge, which can make them frustrated. So this can be caused by the way we raise the children, my way of raising the children. So now it's my responsibility how I'm going to facilitate my children to grow positive social skills. The third one, uh, bully is really a problem. My elder daughter Bella, she's bullied sadly in school bus or even at home. Uh, my younger daughter Emma tends to hit her when she doesn't get what she wants from Bella. So and the other thing also, children likes to make fun of other people, other children. So it might not be, or they might not be, they might not want to hurt the other children intentionally, but it is uh, it does hurt. So I think uh, what we can do, or my responsibility, is how I should tell my children how to defend herself, how to stand up against bully, and also make an effort to be a friend for a friend who doesn't have many friends, or to friends who doesn't have friends at all, right? So I like one book called Stand Strong from Nick Fujivic. Uh, Nick being different, having no arms and legs, uh, he got bullied throughout his early childhood till I think high school. So I think that's a good book for us parents or children to read. Uh, yeah. So for I guess a lot of things I heard from the conversations, I reflected as a parent. So my fourth takeaway is the children follow the example of their parents, right? So like I have the responsibility to be a role model for my children. If I want my children to respect other people, so I have to show that by showing respect the way I treat my family members, my wife. So that's something which I'm still working on also, to be more respectful and to love my family members more. Fifth takeaway. So this is not related to parenting or family. So Cohen really mentioned about modeling other people. Learn by observing how other people do things and observing the results, what results they got. So in this episode, Cohen mentioned how he learned about how guys should talk to girls by observing people in cafe. And I also learned that from Brandon Burchard. In his early career, he was an analyst in Accenture, and he got he got promoted to be in the partner track, a fast track. So how he did that is basically he didn't he didn't he didn't act like an analyst. So he kept asking himself how he can think like a partner. So what he did is he observed what actually partner ask or say in certain situations, in different meetings, etc., and ask the same questions. So then the senior management started seeing him as an analyst who had the capability or the potentials. So that's how he did that, simply by paying attentions on how all the partners, the senior people, ask questions and apply it the same thing. So that's my 5 takes away, my personal takes away from my conversations with Coen. Hey, if you like what we are creating with this podcast, make sure you join our Rebound Stronger Facebook group. This is the group where you can interact with like-minded people who wants to take their life to the next level, people who wants to turn their low points into breakthroughs. And as a bonus, the past podcast guests have also joined the group. So check it out and go to reboundstronger.com/group. Or you can also search the group in the Facebook. Just use the keyword Rebound Strongers. And we have big plans for you and the members. So see you inside.